He said the one thing that sent her over the edge. You are overreacting. She looked at him like he had just flipped the last switch she had left. The blow-up was officially underway. The moment he said she was overreacting, something in her face changed. It wasn't loud at first. It was quiet, which is usually the point where the worst fights begin. She sat down slowly, like she was trying to keep herself from shaking Kody. She said, "How long do you think I can keep doing this?" He looked confused. Not concerned, confused. He thought they were having a simple argument about gossip. He had no idea she was talking about something much bigger. She took a deep breath and said, "You think I am upset about some rumor. I am upset because it was believable. I am upset because people think you are capable of this. I am upset because I don't even know what you do when I am not around anymore." That hit him. You could see it. He leaned back and crossed his arms as if he was trying to shield himself. "You are acting like I have something to hide," he said. She shook her head. "I am acting like a woman who has been carrying your reputation and your mistakes for years. Here is where the pressure really shows. Robyn has spent a decade trying to be the supportive one. She defended him when the other wives were frustrated. She defended him during the pandemic. She defended him when viewers called him out. Every time something went wrong, she tried to explain it or soften it or justify it. She has been the shield, and a shield eventually cracks." She pointed to her phone again. "Do you know how many messages I've gotten? Do you know how many people are sending me screenshots, my sisters, my cousins, church friends, people I haven't heard from in months? They think I am living with a man who is running around talking to young influencers behind my back." Her voice kept getting sharper. "You don't get to shrug that off. Not when I am the one who gets hit with it." Kody tried to talk, but she cut him off. "And before you say it, I know you didn't cheat. That isn't the point. The point is, people believe it because of how you treat our marriage." That line stunned him. He sat still for a moment, tapping his thumb against his knee, trying to figure out what she meant. And she didn't wait. She kept going. "You spend hours on the phone with people who praise you. You ignore me when I ask for help. You are short with me. You are distant with the kids. You pull away the moment things get heavy. That is why the rumor spread. Because people think you would rather be anywhere else than here." He opened his mouth, but she didn't stop. And honestly, sometimes I think they're right. Now it was out in the open. The fear she never says out loud. The fear that he is only with her because the other wives left, not because he chose her. That fear fuels everything in her life. He tried to defend himself, but every answer sounded flat. "I'm here now," he said. "I'm with you." She shook her head. "You're in the house. That is not the same thing as being with me." The more she talked, the more he looked cornered. He hates being confronted, especially when it comes from a woman who knows him well enough to hit the truth directly. He stood up and started pacing. She watched him go back and forth across the room. Then she said the sentence that froze him mid-step. "If this is what our marriage is going to be now, I don't know how long I can hold it together." He turned slowly. "What does that mean?" "It means I am tired of fighting for something you don't protect." And that is where the blow-up went from emotional to explosive. Kody stopped pacing and stared at her like he couldn't decide if she was bluffing or if she meant every word. He had never heard Robyn talk like this, not once. She was always the calm one, the patient one, the peacemaker. So when she said she didn't know how long she could hold the marriage together, it hit him in a way he didn't expect. "What are you saying?" he asked again. But this time he sounded unsure instead of angry. Robyn leaned back in her chair and finally let herself breathe. "I'm saying that I've been trying to keep this family afloat for years, and I'm watching you act like none of this matters. I'm watching you carry your stress into every room of this house. I'm watching you disappear into your phone for hours, and I'm the one trying to explain away your behavior every time you shut down." She wasn't yelling. She didn't need to. The calm tone made everything land harder. "You think I didn't notice?" she said. "You think I don't see when you pull away? You think I don't know when you're irritated with me? I notice everything, and I'm tired of pretending I don't." Kody rubbed his forehead. "This is about the other wives," he muttered, almost to himself. Robyn's eyes snapped to him. "Number. This is about you." He didn't like that answer. He hates being the center of the problem. But she didn't let him twist the conversation. "You think I'm stuck in the past," she said. I ended up right in the middle of Robyn Brown pacing around the backyard, talking to herself, wiping her eyes, and trying to keep it together. This wasn't the calm television version of her. This was the everything is crashing in real time version, and the rest of the family didn't even know what they were walking into. What if I told you the rumor about Kody and Brianna Chickenfry didn't just annoy Robyn, it pushed her to her breaking point? What if I told you this tiny spark of gossip hit her like a grenade because of everything she has been holding together behind the scenes? And what if I told you this rumor exposed problems in her marriage that she has been trying to hide for years? That is where the blow-up starts. The story didn't reach her slowly. It hit her in a wave. One of her kids sent her a link. Then another message came in. Then someone from the production team quietly asked if she had seen the post circulating online. At first, she laughed it off. She thought it was internet noise. But the moment she realized how widely it was spreading, everything shifted. The rumor wasn't even that detailed. It was the idea of it. The idea that Kody, the man she fought the whole world for, could be linked to a young influencer while the family was still picking pieces off the floor from their multi-year collapse. It didn't matter if the rumor was flimsy. It struck the exact spot where she feels vulnerable. So she stormed outside before anyone could see her face. Cameras were rolling, but she forgot they were there. She kept saying the same thing under her breath. I cannot do this again, but this rumor touched the one fear she never says out loud, that she could lose Kody, that she could lose the one part of the family that she believes actually chose her. She wasn't angry at Brianna Chickenfry. She wasn't angry at the fans. She was angry at how believable the rumor sounded, and that part shook her. Inside the house, Kody was laughing at something on his phone, completely unaware Robyn was outside unraveling. He had no idea the conversation waiting for him would become the biggest fight they've had since the other wives left. This is where everything starts to blow open. Robyn came back inside fast, still wiping her face, and Kody finally looked up from his phone. He saw her expression and froze, not because he understood what was happening, but because he could tell this wasn't the kind of mood he could joke his way out of. What happened? He asked, already sounding defensive. She didn't answer right away. She grabbed the back of a chair and steadied herself. Then she held up her phone like it weighed 100 pounds. Do you know what people are saying about you? He shrugged. People say stuff every day. That answer lit the fuse. Robyn wasn't upset about the rumor on its own. She is upset. Kody didn't even seem shocked, offended, or bothered. She expected outrage or at least a denial with some emotion behind it. Instead, he responded with the same casual tone he uses when talking about the weather. And that made her feel like maybe the rumor didn't sound as impossible to him as it should. She walked toward him and said, "Tell me you didn't know anything about this. Tell me you didn't talk to her. Tell me you didn't do anything to make people think this." At this point, it wasn't about logic. It was about fear. Kody's instinctive reaction was to roll his eyes, and that is where the tone shifted, because he didn't realize how far gone she already was. "What do you think I am doing, sneaking around with some podcast girl?" he snapped. "Come on, Robyn," he said it like it was ridiculous, and maybe it was, but Robyn didn't back down. "You don't understand," she said. "This family is hanging on by a thread. Do you think I need people believing you are out chasing 20-something influencers? Do you know what that looks like? Do you know what that makes me look like?" Now here is where the deeper issue hits. Robyn wasn't talking about the rumor anymore. She was talking about everything that has been building for years. The loss of the other wives, the guilt she carries, the constant pressure to defend Kody in public, the constant work of keeping him calm at home. She is tired of fighting for the marriage, while he seems tired of being in it. The rumor didn't create a problem. It revealed one. She kept talking, and the truth poured out faster than she realized. "You don't talk to me," she said. "You shut down. You leave when things get hard. Then something like this comes out, and you act like it is nothing. I am the one that has to protect our family's reputation. I am the one that gets attacked. I am the one that people blame for every single thing you do. And now this." The room went still. Kody tried to defend himself, but every answer made things worse. He kept trying to separate himself from the rumor. Robyn kept trying to connect it to the bigger pattern. They were talking past each other in two different emotional worlds. And then, "You think I'm sad about Christine or Janelle or Mary leaving. I'm sad about what it did to you, about what it did to us. They left, and then you folded into yourself. and I've been trying to pull you back out ever since." She paused long enough for him to sit down. "You don't let me in anymore," she said quietly. "Not really." That silence between them felt heavy. Kody looked down at the floor like he was waiting for the right words to magically show up. "They didn't." She kept going. "When the rumor came out, I realized something," she said. "I realized that if you ever did something stupid, I would find out from the internet before I found out from you. That's how far away you are from me now." That got his attention. He looked up fast. "That's not true," he said. "I would never." She held up her hand. "Stop. This isn't about cheating. This is about the distance, the secrecy, the way you shut me out, the way you act like you're carrying the world alone when I'm right here trying to help." He took a long breath, trying to ground himself. But she wasn't done. "Do you know what this rumor really did?" she said. "It showed me how fragile our marriage is. It showed me how vulnerable I am. It showed me that I am the only one fighting to keep us from falling apart." Now Kody was frustrated. "I am fighting too," he insisted. She shook her head. "You are surviving. That is not the same." He opened his mouth again, but she cut him off. "And while you are surviving, I am managing. I am explaining. I am staying calm for the kids. I am smoothing things over with production. I am answering questions from family. And then I see a rumor about you and some young influencer, and you don't even blink. You don't even get angry. You don't even reassure me." Kody looked stunned. "Reassure you, Robyn? It is not true." "I know it is not true," she said. "But I needed to hear it from you, like it mattered to you." She said it so simply that it knocked the wind out of him. For the first time he looked scared, not of the rumor, but of losing the one person who stayed when everyone else walked away. Robyn could see the panic in his eyes, and she didn't soften. She had reached her breaking point, and for once she wasn't swallowing it. "Kody," she said, "I cannot be the only one holding this together." And this is where the fight shifts from blame to something raw and unsettling, the reality that the last marriage standing might not be as stable as everyone assumed. Kody sat there with his hands clasped, staring at the floor like he was trying to keep himself from exploding or collapsing. It was hard to tell which direction he was leaning. Robyn didn't fill the silence for him. She let it sit. She wanted him to feel it. Finally he said, "You act like I am not trying." She let out a humorless laugh. "Trying, Kody. I don't see it. I see you doing the bare minimum so you don't have a complete breakdown on camera. I see you avoiding every conversation that makes you uncomfortable. I see you hiding behind frustration instead of dealing with anything." He didn't like hearing that. His whole body tensed. "I am doing the best I can," he said. She shook her head. "You can do better than this." He leaned forward. "You think I'm not hurting? You think I don't feel destroyed by everything that happened? I lost my family, and I lost mine too," she said. "But I didn't lose myself. You did." That stopped him cold. "You changed," she said quietly, "and I've been waiting for you to come back, but you keep disappearing into your moods, into your fears, into your anger." He tried to defend himself again. "You don't know what it feels like." She didn't flinch. "I know exactly what it feels like. I'm the one living with you." The room felt tight, like neither of them could breathe. Robyn stood up and walked a few steps away, then turned back to him. "Do you know why this rumor got to me? Because it made me realize how separate we've become. It made me realize you have a whole inner world that I'm not part of anymore." He looked confused. "Inner world." "Yes," she said. "The thoughts you don't say, the feelings you don't share, the worries you don't tell me about, the bitterness you carry, the guilt you pretend isn't there. You don't talk to me about any of it. You just shut down." Kody shook his head. "I don't shut down. You shut down every single time something reminds you of the wives leaving," she said. "Every time you see a piece of news, every time someone brings up the past, every time you feel like you're being judged, and instead of talking to me, you wall yourself off." He rubbed his face. "I can't talk about it without reliving it, and I can't help you if you won't let me in," she said. This wasn't the loud part of the blow-up. This was the truth, telling part, and it was cutting through both of them. She walked closer and lowered her voice. "I know you. You don't trust easily. You never have. And everything that happened with the other wives made you trust even less. But you can't punish me for what they did." Kody looked up slowly. She continued, I'm not them. I didn't leave you. I didn't betray you. I didn't pull away. I didn't check out. I didn't stop trying. I've been here, through all of it. But sometimes it feels like you're waiting for me to hurt you, too. He didn't deny it. That was the closest she'd ever gotten to the real root of his behavior. He looked away, and she knew she was right. And then this rumor pops up, she said. And for the first time I felt exactly what the other wives must have felt. That you can be in a room with someone and still feel entirely alone. Kody's breathing changed. He was finally absorbing the emotional weight instead of fighting it. Robyn crossed her arms. This isn't about cheating. This isn't even about the rumor. This is about the fact that you and I are drifting, and neither of us wants to say it out loud. He swallowed hard, Kody, she said. If we don't fix this now, we're going to lose each other, and I don't think we can survive another loss. That was the moment he finally looked scared. Not angry, not defensive, but genuinely afraid. Because for the first time, he understood that the one marriage he thought was safe might not be safe at all. Kody leaned back in the chair slowly, like his body was giving out under the weight of everything she had just said. This time, he didn't argue. He didn't jump in to correct her or blame someone else, or defend his ego. He just sat there, staring at the wall, breathing through the shock of finally hearing the words he'd been trying to avoid for years. Robyn didn't move either. She watched him closely, not with anger now, but with a strange mix of exhaustion and heartbreak. This wasn't the victory of winning an argument. This was the heaviness of saying the things she'd been swallowing for far too long. Eventually, he whispered, "I didn't know you felt like this." She closed her eyes for a moment. "Kody, I've been trying to tell you. You just don't listen unless I break down." He flinched because he knew that was true. He had gotten used to her being the calm one, the stable one, the predictable one. He assumed she would always be fine. He assumed she would always forgive. He assumed she would always adjust to whatever he couldn't handle. He assumed wrong. When she opened her eyes again, her expression was softer but no less serious. "Do you remember when we first got married?" she asked quietly. He nodded. "You used to tell me everything," she said. "Every worry, every fear, every frustration, every dream. You were open, you were vulnerable. You talked to me like you trusted me with your whole heart." She shook her head slowly, "But after the others left, you stopped. It's like you built a wall around yourself and shut me out with everyone else." Kody rubbed his hands together, a nervous habit he hadn't shown in a long time. "I didn't mean to shut you out," he said. "I know," she replied, "but that doesn't change the fact that you did." He took a long breath through his nose. "I felt betrayed. I felt judged. I felt abandoned." "And I didn't?" she asked. He looked up. "You think it only hurt you," she continued. "You think I didn't sit here every night, wondering what I could have done differently, wondering what I missed, wondering why I wasn't enough to keep the family together." The pain in her voice finally reached him. "I lost them too," she said. "I lost the future I thought we were building. I lost the unity I wanted for our kids. I lost women I cared about. And then I watched you fall apart, and I had to stay strong so you didn't completely shut down." She let out a slow breath. "But being strong doesn't mean I'm not hurting." He opened his mouth to speak, stopped, then tried again. "I didn't know you felt abandoned, because I don't get to fall apart," she said. "Not in front of you, not in front of the kids. Someone had to hold everything together when you couldn't." That hit him hard. He stared at her like he was seeing her differently for the first time in years. Robyn walked over to the counter and leaned against it, collecting herself. When she spoke again, her voice was steadier. "When this rumor came out," she said, "it wasn't just that people were saying something ridiculous about you. It was the realization that if something really was going wrong in your life, I would be the last to know. That hurt more than anything Brianna Chickenfry could ever say." Kody blinked. He hadn't thought about it like that. She continued, "I'm not scared of losing you to some young influencer. I'm scared of losing you to whatever's happening inside your head." He looked down again. "It's not easy for me to talk about this stuff." "I know," she said. "But if you don't talk about it, your silence becomes its own kind of betrayal." He sucked in a breath, shocked by the accuracy. "You're not cheating," she said. "You're not lying, but you're withdrawing. You are leaving me alone in a marriage that is supposed to have two people in it." For a moment, neither of them spoke. Then she added quietly, I don't want to feel like a placeholder for the life you think you should have had. I want to feel like your partner, but I can't do that if you won't let me in. Kody finally looked up, his voice barely steady. I don't know how to fix this. She stepped closer. Start by not shutting down when you are scared. Start by telling me the things you'd rather hide. Start by choosing us instead of choosing silence. He nodded slowly, overwhelmed. And Kody, she said softly, we can't survive another year like this. Not emotionally, not mentally, not as a family. Her words hung in the air like a warning neither of them could ignore. For the first time in a long time, Kody realized that if he didn't change, the last wife he had, the one he always assumed would stay, might actually walk away. Kody stayed silent for so long that Robyn wondered if he was actually going to respond, or if he was slipping back into the same shutdown she'd just confronted him about. But then he finally spoke, and his voice sounded rough, like he hadn't used it in a while. I didn't think you'd ever get tired of me, he said quietly. That sentence hit her like a punch. It was honest, it was vulnerable, and it was more revealing than anything he'd said in months. Robyn pulled out a chair and sat down again, softening just a little. Kody, everybody gets tired. That is what you don't understand. Loving someone doesn't mean you never struggle. It means you keep choosing them. I chose you every day when things got bad, but I need you choosing me back. He lifted his eyes slowly. I thought I was. Doing the dishes and paying bills isn't choosing me, she said. Choosing me means talking to me, letting me in, trusting me, showing up emotionally. You used to do that, you stopped. He leaned forward, elbows on his knees. I guess I keep thinking you're going to leave too. That admission stunned her. She blinked. Why would you think that? He shrugged. Everyone else did. That wasn't about you, she said. He let out a short, sad laugh. It was definitely about me. Kody, no, he said, holding up a hand. I know you want to make it sound complicated, but they left because they were done with me. I saw it, I felt it, and I keep thinking one day you'll look at me the way they did. Robyn stared at him for a long moment. This was the first time he'd said those words out loud. He never admitted insecurity, never admitted fear, never admitted that the divorces wounded him in ways he didn't know how to talk about. And this was it, the real core of the whole blow-up. He was scared of being abandoned. She was scared of being left out. They were living two different fears at the same time, and the rumor had brought both of those fears to the surface with no filter. Kody, she said gently, I'm not leaving you, but I can't keep carrying all of the emotional weight by myself. I can't be the only one stabilizing this marriage. I need you to be present with me. He rubbed the back of his neck, tired. I don't know if I know how to anymore. You do, she said. You just forgot. You shut down to protect yourself, and now you're stuck there. He looked at her with something close to helplessness. I don't know how to open up without feeling like I'm going to break. She exhaled slowly. Then break with me. That's what marriage is. You don't have to be bulletproof all the time. He shifted uncomfortably. I don't like people seeing me weak. I'm not people, she said. I'm your wife. He swallowed hard, and she added, if you keep pretending you don't feel anything, then every little thing, like some stupid rumor, is going to blow up into a disaster, because you've got nowhere for your emotions to go. Kody looked like he was absorbing that for the first time. Robyn leaned forward. I didn't have a meltdown because I believed the rumor. I had a meltdown because it reminded me how disconnected we've become, and I'm scared that this distance is going to destroy us. He finally sat back and nodded, just once. But it was a real nod. A nod that meant he actually understood. I don't want to lose you, he said quietly. You won't, she said. Not if we fix this, but we have to fix it together. I can't do it alone anymore. He nodded again, and then she asked the question that brought the conversation from emotional to uncomfortable, but necessary. Kody, why didn't you react to the rumor? Why didn't it bother you? He hesitated, because there was a reason he didn't want to say, and the second she asked, the whole mood shifted again. Robyn could see something in his eyes, a flash of guilt, or fear, or something he didn't want her to know. Kody, she said softly, tell me the truth. He looked down at his hands. It didn't bother me, he said, because It wasn't totally out of nowhere. Robyn froze. What does that mean? She asked, her voice tightening. Kody's jaw clenched, and just like that, the fight took a sharp turn because the one thing she feared most wasn't the rumor being true. It was the possibility that Kody had done something that could be misunderstood. And now she had to know what he wasn't saying. Robyn didn't move. She didn't blink. She just stared at him, the silence pressing hard enough that Kody shifted in his chair, like he suddenly felt too big for his own skin. What do you mean it wasn't out of nowhere? She repeated. Slower this time, he dragged a hand over his face. I didn't say I did anything wrong. That's not what I asked, she said. I asked why this rumor didn't shock you. Kody took a long breath and stared at the wall instead of her. Because I talked to her once. Robyn's heart dropped. Talked to who? She asked. Though she already knew the answer, he hesitated. The girl in the rumor. Brianna Chickenfry, she said flatly. He winced. Yeah. Robyn's breath caught so sharply she had to put a hand on the table to steady herself. He wasn't admitting to some secret relationship. He wasn't admitting to some scandal. But he was admitting to something she didn't know happened. Something that fed the rumor enough to make it plausible. Why didn't you tell me? She whispered. It wasn't a big deal. She laughed, but it wasn't a real laugh. You're joking, he frowned. It wasn't like that. She reached out. Someone gave her my number from a production contact. She wanted a comment about the family. I didn't think it mattered. She called you, Robyn asked. She texted me, he corrected. It was months ago. I barely answered. I didn't want to get dragged into some podcast drama. Robyn pinched the bridge of her nose. Kody, do you hear yourself? You talked to her. You didn't tell me. And then you act shocked that a rumor exploded out of nowhere. It was nothing, he repeated, louder now. I get messages from journalists, bloggers, whatever. It's normal. Not women half your age who build their brand on scandals, she shot back. Not ones who have the power to twist a single conversation into something bigger. I didn't think she'd do that, he said. That's the problem, Robyn replied. You don't think... He bristled. I didn't hide it. I just didn't think it mattered. If it didn't matter, she said, then why didn't you tell me even in passing? He had no answer. And that told her everything she needed to know. Robyn sank into the chair across from him. She wasn't angry in the explosive way anymore. She was hurt in the quiet way that was scarier. When you keep things from me, she said softly. Even tiny things, it creates cracks. I didn't know you were talking to anyone outside our circle. I didn't know you were being contacted about anything. I didn't know you were answering people without telling me. It wasn't a secret. It was, she said. Anything you choose not to share becomes a secret, Kody leaned back. Robyn, I didn't think the conversation was relevant. It lasted 2 minutes. Then why do you look guilty right now? She asked. He stiffened. I'm not guilty. You look like someone who knows this is more complicated than you want to admit. He looked away, and that confirmed it. Robyn took a slow breath, trying to stay steady. Kody, did you say anything to her that could be taken the wrong way? He opened his mouth to say no, but he didn't. He paused, and Robyn felt something inside her crack. Kody, she said, voice shaking now. What did you say? He glanced at her, then down at his hands again. She asked how I was doing after everything with the family. And what did you say? I said it was nice that someone cared enough to ask. Robyn stiffened like she'd been slapped. That sentence hit her harder than anything else so far. Nice that someone cared, she repeated quietly. I care. I know you do, he said quickly. That's not what I meant. It's exactly what you meant, she said. He stumbled to correct himself. Robyn, I didn't mean she cares more than you. I just meant it was different hearing it from an outsider. Someone who didn't already think the worst of me. And that, she said, is why the rumor scared me. Because I'm not the only one you open up to anymore. He froze. I'm not the only one you confide in, she continued. I'm not the only one you let see your pain. And you didn't tell me because you knew how it would sound. You knew it crossed a line. It didn't cross a line, he insisted. Then why are you sweating? She asked. He opened his mouth, closed it again. Robyn stood up slowly. Kody, you talked to a stranger about your feelings before you talked to me. Do you understand how that feels? He looked genuinely rattled now. Robyn, it wasn't emotional, it wasn't deep. But you told her something you didn't tell me, she said. And you told a young influencer that it was nice she cared. He swallowed hard. This isn't cheating, she said. This isn't betrayal in the traditional sense. But it is a betrayal of trust, a betrayal of us, a betrayal of everything we promised each other. He opened his mouth to argue, but she didn't let him. When you said it wasn't. Out of nowhere, she said. You didn't mean the rumor made sense. You meant you knew you'd said something that could be twisted into a story. He pressed his lips together. Robyn took a step back, her voice shaking. Kody, what else aren't you telling me? His silence was the answer she feared most, because for the first time in their marriage, he wasn't reassuring her. He wasn't calming her. He wasn't denying anything. He was afraid. Robyn stood there staring at him, waiting for anything that sounded like clarity, a denial, a correction, even a clumsy explanation. But Kody didn't give her any of those. He just sat there, rubbing his hands together, eyes fixed on the table, like he was trying to erase the last 5 minutes from existence. Kody, she said. You're scaring me. He finally looked up. I didn't do anything wrong. That's not what I asked, she replied. He opened his mouth, then shut it again. The silence stretched long enough that the air in the room felt heavy. Robyn wasn't yelling now. That part was over. What came next was the deeper kind of confrontation, the kind where the anger has burned off and only the truth is left behind. She walked around the table and sat down across from him again. Her hands were shaking, so she clasped them together to keep them steady. Just tell me the whole story, she said. From the beginning. No editing, no trying to protect yourself. Just the truth. Kody sighed through his nose like the weight of the world had dropped onto his shoulders. There isn't much to tell. Then tell it quickly, she said. He hesitated, which was the worst thing he could have done. When someone has nothing to hide, they jump straight into the details. When someone pauses long enough to think about their wording, alarms go off. She messaged. He finally said. Who? Say her name. He winced. Brianna. And what did she want? She said she was doing a breakdown about the family for her show. She asked if I wanted to give my side of things. Robyn leaned back slowly. Why would she want your side? She said. It made the conversation more balanced. Robyn frowned. No one in the media has ever cared about balance. Kody's jaw tightened. I know, so you wrote back, he shrugged. I said thanks, but I didn't want to talk right now. And that's it. He didn't answer, Kody, she said firmly. He let out a slow breath. She kept the conversation going. And you let her, Robyn asked. He didn't deny it. He didn't nod either. He just went still. What did she keep asking? She asked what it was like going from plural marriage to, well, whatever this is now, and you answered. Another pause. Kody? Yeah, he muttered. Robyn blinked slowly, trying to keep the emotion from swallowing her. So she pulled you into a personal conversation. It wasn't personal. You told her it was nice that she cared. Robyn shot back. If that isn't personal, I don't know what is. Kody rubbed his forehead. I was tired. It was a bad day. She caught me at the wrong time. That's not an excuse, she said. It's an admission? Kody looked frustrated, trapped between guilt and defensiveness. It wasn't emotional, he insisted again. Not from my side. Then from whose? She asked. Hers. He looked away. That was answer enough. Robyn swallowed hard. Did she flirt with you? The question landed like a brick. Kody didn't respond right away. He took a long breath and finally said, maybe a little. Robyn's stomach dropped. And you didn't mention that? You didn't tell me someone was trying to flirt with you? It wasn't serious, he said quickly. I shut it down. You didn't shut it down, she said. You kept talking. He pushed back in his chair. It wasn't a conversation. It was a handful of messages. And you never told me, she said. That's the part you don't get. You didn't tell me she wasn't shaking anymore. She was too numb for that. What exactly did she say? Robyn asked. She joked that I must be fun to date. Robyn closed her eyes like the words physically hurt. And what did you say back? I didn't say anything flirtatious, he said. I said I wasn't dating. That's it. He hesitated, Kody. I added that the dating world is insane, he admitted quietly. Robyn opened her eyes. You said that to a young influencer who already thought you were interesting enough to reach out to, she joked first, he said. Does that make it better, she asked. Or worse? He pressed his hands together. I didn't think she'd twist it into something else. She's an influencer, Robyn said. Twisting things is her job, he flinched. Robyn leaned forward. Why didn't you tell me the moment you got that message? Because I knew you'd react like this, he snapped, though it didn't come out as confidently as he wanted. How else was I supposed to react? She asked. You kept it from me. You told her things you didn't tell me. You let her joke about dating you, and then you acted confused when a rumor started. He dragged a hand across his beard. It wasn't serious, Robyn. It was serious enough that you hid it. It wasn't hiding. It was, she said calmer now, which somehow scared him more. Anything you don't tell your wife is hiding. He finally looked at her directly. His eyes were red, but not from tears, from stress, from fear, from knowing he dug himself into a hole and had no idea how to climb out of it. Robyn exhaled slowly. I'm not accusing you of cheating. I'm accusing you of crossing a boundary you never should have crossed. I'm accusing you of giving another woman access. You don't give me, Robyn. I love you, he said desperately. She shook her head. Love doesn't fix secrecy, he froze. And you're not telling me everything, she said softly. He swallowed hard. Kody, is there more? He didn't respond, which again told her everything. The room felt heavier now. Every word hung in the air thick and tense. Robyn's heart was pounding. But this wasn't about yelling anymore. It was about seeing Kody's truth laid bare. She could see the cracks forming in him, the way he tried to act normal while every instinct told him he was cornered. Kody, she said slowly, if there's more, I need to know. I can handle the truth, but I cannot handle being lied to by omission. He looked down at his hands, shaking slightly. The silence stretched long enough that Robyn felt her chest tighten. Finally, he admitted, there were a few texts, I didn't answer all of them. Robyn narrowed her eyes. You didn't answer, but you didn't stop them either. I didn't stop them, he said quietly. I didn't know how. Not how to stop them, she repeated. Kody, you're a grown man. You don't know how to set boundaries with a stranger. I didn't think it mattered, he whispered. Didn't think it mattered? Robyn's voice shook. You mean didn't think I mattered, because the second you started giving someone else a window into your life, even a tiny one, it mattered. To me, to our marriage. He flinched. I wasn't giving her a window. It was just a conversation. Exactly, she said sharply. A conversation. That's how rumors start. That's how trust gets chipped away. That's how marriages crack. Kody leaned back, looking overwhelmed, and for the first time, Robyn could see genuine fear in his eyes. Fear of losing her. Fear of finally facing the consequences of his avoidance, of his habits, of his silence. I didn't think it would come to this, he muttered. It came to this, she said softer now. Because you haven't been honest. You've been hiding in little ways for years. And this rumor, it's not the problem, it's the symptom. He shook his head, a little dazed. I didn't think it was hiding. You didn't think, she interrupted. That's exactly it. You never think about how your actions affect me emotionally. You think about what's convenient, what's easy, what doesn't force you to face your guilt or fear. And it's all catching up. Kody rubbed the back of his neck, visibly exhausted. I didn't want to fight. This isn't a fight, Robyn said. It's an intervention for us, for our marriage. And maybe it's for you too, because I don't know how much longer you can keep doing this. He swallowed hard, but didn't answer. She pressed on. Kody, do you see how dangerous this is? Not in terms of the rumor itself, but in terms of what it does to us. You are letting someone else have influence over our marriage. Even if it's just a few messages, you are giving power away that isn't theirs to take. He stayed quiet, looking down again, but the shame was written all over his face. Robyn stood and walked slowly to the window, staring outside, like she needed the air to steady herself. Do you understand what I'm saying? She asked without turning. I do, he whispered. Then act on it, she said. Talk to me, let me in. Stop hiding behind excuses. Stop thinking a rumor is the problem. Start thinking about the real problem. Your silence, your avoidance, the boundaries you refuse to set, and the walls you've built between us." For a long moment, neither of them spoke. Kody's shoulders slumped, Robyn's jaw tightened, and in that silence, the truth became clear. This wasn't just a rumor about some distant influencer. This was about the foundation of their marriage cracking under the weight of unspoken truths, unacknowledged emotions, and years of unaddressed tension. Finally, Kody lifted his eyes to meet hers. I don't want to lose you. And you won't," she said, her voice softer, but firm. "Not if we fix this, but fixing it starts now. No more secrets, no more hiding, no more letting someone else control our emotions for us." He nodded, trembling slightly. The fear, guilt, and exhaustion in his eyes were almost unbearable to witness. But Robyn knew this was the turning point. The moment where everything either fell apart completely or began to heal. "Talk to me," she said, taking a step closer. "Everything now," he swallowed hard, trying to find the words he'd buried for years. And for the first time, Robyn felt like she might finally hear the truth. Kody took a deep breath, finally letting his defenses drop. The tension in the room was almost unbearable, but he knew he had to speak, had to lay it all out. "Robyn, I've been scared. Scared of being judged, scared of being misunderstood, scared of failing you, scared of failing myself. I didn't know how to talk to you about any of it without making it worse." Robyn softened slightly, letting her arms fall to her sides. "Kody, I'm not here to judge you. I want to understand you, but I can't understand you if you keep building walls." "I know," he said quietly, voice raw. "I didn't just talk to Brianna Chickenfry to cause trouble. I didn't know where else to put the feelings I was drowning in. I didn't know how to handle being alone in my own thoughts. And when she messaged me, it was just an outlet. I wasn't looking for anything." "I swear," Robyn nodded slowly, letting the words sink in. "I believe you. But the problem isn't just her messages. The problem is that you hid it from me. You let the silence build between us until it exploded in the form of a rumor. That's what hurt me. That's what made me lose it." "I know," he admitted. "I see it now. I see how badly I screwed up by not being honest, by not trusting you with the truth. I thought I was protecting you, but I was only protecting myself." "And now?" she asked. "Now," he said, his voice cracking slightly. "I want to do better. I want to be honest. I want to let you in. I don't want to live in fear anymore. I don't want to be the guy who shuts down, who hides, who avoids. I want to be us again." Robyn felt tears prick her eyes, but they weren't tears of anger. They were tears of relief. "That is all I've wanted," she said. "I needed to know you still choose me, that you still value us, that you still see me as your partner, and not just someone who is here because you are supposed to have me here." He reached across the table and took her hand, a gesture that felt both simple and monumental. "I choose you, Robyn, every day. And I promise, no more secrets, no more silence. I'll face the hard conversations. I'll face my fears. I'll face myself." For the first time in months, Robyn felt the weight lift slightly from her chest. She squeezed his hand. "Then let's rebuild together. No more rumors, no more assumptions, just honesty and commitment and choosing each other every day." He nodded, tears finally slipping down his cheeks. "Together," he whispered, and in that moment, the storm that had been raging between them, the blow-ups, the rumors, the unspoken words, began to calm. It wasn't perfect. It wouldn't be easy. But for the first time in a long time, they were on the same side again. They sat there for a long moment, hands clasped, hearts racing, knowing that the journey ahead would test them, challenge them, and maybe even scare them. But at least now it would be a journey they faced openly, honestly, and together, because sometimes the truth hurts, but hiding from it hurts more. And for Robyn and Kody, finally facing the truth was the first step toward healing their fractured world.